Yeah, let's go right to the center. This is Karen Parker-Chesson with the Norfolk Police Department. And if you would, just for our viewers, if you can start from the beginning, what do we know happened here today?
Right now, at this time, we know that approximately 2:35, 2:40, a call came from Wells Fargo for a subject attempting to pass off a bad document, fraudulent check. Officers responded, a two-man unit responded. One of the officers approached the suspect vehicle in the parking lot of the Wells Fargo. When the officer approached that subject, the male subject was sitting in the driver's seat. He put the car in reverse and accelerated, striking one of the officers.
So one of the officers was hit by the suspect's car?
Yes, that is correct. And once that happened, the other officer discharged his weapon.
Okay, and then do we know if there were shots coming from the suspect's car at all?
Right now, all of that remains under investigation. One of the first things I want to say is that our officer is at Norfolk General Hospital. He has non-life-threatening injuries. He's expected to recover. We don't know the extent of all of his injury, but they are non-life-threatening.
I know that forensics just got here.
Yes.
If you can, give me a little background on how the investigation goes from here, because obviously you have a pretty large crime scene. You have this whole parking lot, and one of your own was shot. We do know there's one person who is deceased. So where do you guys go from here? What's the usual process?
Well, the process starts with talking to the officers, talking to as many people who were a part of the situation or the incident and are on the perimeter at the scene. Forensics is here to take evidence, to see what they can glean from things that have been left behind in the wake of the incident. We do have another suspect, a female adult, who is in custody. So we also know that there are cameras around, so forensics will be looking at those, trying to gather information and evidence. And of course, our operation of professional standards is here. They're on the scene because anytime there is an officer-involved incident, they come and they take information used for later.
I know that it's cliche to say that there's no routine traffic stop, and it really, we learned today, once again, how dangerous this job really is, isn't it?
It's a very dangerous job, but the officers who do it, they take that oath to serve and protect, and they do it honorably, and they do it knowing that something or anything could happen on any given day. A call came in to this particular location for someone who was attempting to pass off a fraudulent check. We believe that suspect is the person who was in the vehicle outside in the parking lot when the officer approached and asked the subject in the vehicle to stop.
Karen, if you would stick with me 1 second. Nicole and Tom have a question, and I know you can't hear. Sure. They can't hear you, but I'll relay the question.
Okay.
Go
Thank
ahead,
you,
Tom.
Jason. Now we got a call about an officer shot in the leg. Now, you can tell us then that this was not the case. Is that correct? Was the officer shot in the leg or just hit by the vehicle?
Tom wants to know, do we know if the officer was shot or just hit by the vehicle?
Right now, we're assessing that information. We do not know. We do not have a confirmation on whether or not the officer was shot or struck by gunfire.
Okay, well,
we do know he was struck by the vehicle.
Okay. And the lower body was the injury, though?
I won't know until we get a further assessment.
Okay.
So
Karen, thank you so much.
injured.
Yeah, that's the latest, you guys. Yeah, obviously, we get reports, and then as the situation starts to develop, obviously things change. So maybe that's one of those things that as we start doing the investigation, that's why we don't want to jump to conclusions here. Maybe he was just hit by the car and not shot after all.
Right. So what we do know is that there is an officer who is injured, but we're not sure if it's as a result of gunfire or from the car hitting him after this incident.
And police are telling us tonight for sure that the person behind the wheel used that vehicle as a weapon by backing up that vehicle and hitting a Norfolk police officer.
And gunfire was exchanged.
And gunfire was exchanged. So that's what we really have to go with. But the initial reports were that a police officer was shot.
Right.